Good morning. Is everybody comfortable in their seats right now? Good, because you're about to not be. First of all, I'm going to start with something very ordinary, and I promise I'll make it uncomfortable. If you're from Delhi or any other major city, you've woken up on a winter morning, looked outside that window, and had a moment of confusion where you're not sure whether it's fog or smog. So you check the AQI like it's the weather and go, oh, it's 400 today, which is terrifying, but also somehow still in routine. We still go to school, we still go to the office, and we still tell kids, don't run around too much. And at some point, we just stop asking why any of this is acceptable at all. Here is what I have realized. Human beings are incredible at adapting to discomfort, but absolutely terrible at questioning the systems that create it. Now, I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to make you slightly uneasy, because discomfort is usually the moment thinking actually begins. Right now, the world is shaped by two massive forces we prefer to discuss separately because it makes conversations easier: climate and conflict. We treat it like a multiple choice question with only one correct answer. After years of sitting in Model UN, drafting heroic solutions to water scarcity, beautiful clauses like urges member states to considering the considerations of water sharing agreements, I've only ever seen one ending. The resolution died, vetoed, amended into nonsense, or simply lost because the delegate of France went out for samosas and never came back. That's when it hit me. The world isn't run on policy documents or beautifully worded resolutions. It's run on policy, scarcity, fear, panic, and whatever's left in the national budget after someone decides, fighter jets feel so emotionally reassuring right now. When climate change takes away water, fertile land, predictable weather, societies don't respond like Hermione Granger calmly raising their hand. They respond like Marvel's Hulk, stressed, reactive, aggressive, and very, very bad at long-term planning. Crops fail, people migrate. People migrate, host regions panic. Host regions panic, governments lose legitimacy, and a power vacuum opens up. And historically speaking, as we all know, power vacuums never stay empty for long. But the cycle doesn't end there. War feeds straight back into the climate breakdown. Modern warfare burns forests, explodes oil wells, contaminates soil and water. And when the fighting finally seems to stop, reconstruction emissions make the planet pay all over again. It's like in a Bollywood movie where every single attempt to fix something somehow makes the situation worse. And when you finally think the situation couldn't get any more worse, you remember, nuclear weapons exist. Great, exactly what we need, right? A single nuclear detonation can push enough soot into the upper atmosphere to block sunlight, crash global temperatures, and destroy harvests, creating nuclear winter, which isn't science fiction. Look, I'm not saying this to scare you all. Okay, well, maybe a little bit, but mostly I'm saying this because pretending not to be scared hasn't worked out in our favor. And this is where the conversation becomes deeply uncomfortable, especially for women. Women face the most amount of disproportionate insecurities because when climate stress turns into conflict, it always hits women first and the hardest. The problem here isn't the lack of data, it's us. Psychologists tell us humans are built to respond to immediate threats, not slow-moving disasters, which is why we fall into something called the normalcy bias, a belief that if something hasn't collapsed yet, it probably won't in the future, and optimism bias, which convinces us that somehow consequences will magically land on somebody else. Under long-term stress, a chemical called cortisol rises. Reasoning collapses and societies slip into group thinking. Confidence starts mattering more than correctness. When climate stress turns into conflict, women are always hit first and the hardest. In drought regions, women are pulled out of school to walk further regions for water. In conflict areas created by water and food scarcity, rates of gender-based violence increase sharply. In refugee camps created by war, driven by climate change, women face disproportionate insecurity, limited healthcare, and almost no political voice. This isn't accidental, it's structural. Climate conflict exposes inequalities. It doesn't create them, but it amplifies them. So, basically, women's rights, peace, and climate justice aren't separate conversations. They are the same conversation packaged into one, somehow still pretending to be unique and different and not like the others. But what do we do with all of this discomfort? The problem isn't that we don't know enough. The problem is that we are too comfortable. Comfortable breathing toxic air. Comfortable watching wars happen somewhere else, and comfortable treating climate and conflict as two abstract ideas instead of one lived reality. History doesn't move when people are comfortable. It moves when we are uncomfortable long enough to demand better. Being uncomfortable doesn't mean being hopeless. It means refusing to look away. It means demanding that climate policy include peace policy, and that security actually means food, water, clean air, and education, not just weapons, and that the systems claiming to protect us are actually held accountable for the damage they cause. Because we are not facing 2, 3, 4 separate crises. It's one feedback loop. And until we get comfortable being uncomfortable, we'll keep asking the wrong question. So, I'll end where I began. Is everybody comfortable in their seats right now? That was never the plan. Thank you.